I am told that this is a Manitoba maple tree, and when we moved here, about 25 years ago, this tree wasn't much higher than me, maybe 8 feet at the most. We had a windstorm last fall and one of the larger branches got broken off. While I was helping my neighbor clean up the damage, I was wondering, what does that wood look like? So I asked him if I could have a piece of it, and he said sure. Here you can see a piece of it down in my workshop. This is a pretty good sized piece of wood for a branch. After I ripped it lengthways on the bandsaw, it became quite obvious why lumber companies do not use branches to make lumber. There was very little of this branch that I was actually going to be able to use. I was only going to end up with a whole bunch of little small pieces that were usable. So I thought, well, maybe I can make a clock out of it. Okay, it's about 5 months now since I first cut the branch up, and I've got a bunch of small dry pieces, and I'm going to make them into even smaller little segments to go around the dial. I'm using my small wood piece catcher here that I featured on an earlier YouTube video. Since the pieces that I had cut were too short to go through my thickness planer, I had to just cut them up into segments the way they are. The angles are perfect, but the thicknesses sure vary. Once the glue had all dried, I mounted the ring in these mega jumbo jaws. I got this lathe from Canadian Woodworker, and for the money I think it's probably the best heavy-duty lathe a person can get, for a home workshop. Okay, now the ring is basically the same thickness, just got a few grooves from the scraper here. I thought I'd just pass it through my drum sander and make it nice and smooth. I know I probably could have passed it through about 50 times on the sander here and had the same effect, but then I wouldn't have had the fun of using the lathe. I had done a little review on YouTube about this sander a few months ago, and I made the comment that this is a sander, not a thickness planer. Okay, we're back on the lathe, and what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make a recess where the dial is going to mount in the ring. I had to be extra careful here because once I've sanded the wood away, I can't put it back. As it turned out, I was lucky. This downdraft sanding box that I made sure works great. No dust in the air. I had more than one style of dial available, and my neighbor liked this one the best, so I mounted this one in the ring. I superimposed the picture of the dial and ring over top of a drawing I did in the computer, idea being that we'd try and get an idea of what we could do for the rest of the clock. I wanted all the wood in this clock to be from that Manitoba maple tree. So here I'm making a ring to go around the bob. I had pretty good luck doing this when I made a bob for my mom's clock in Kelowna. And I'm not going to comment now on the next few shots. They pretty well explain themselves. So okay, I know you experienced woodworkers out there are just waiting for me to drop this thing down and see it wedge itself between the belt and the table and suddenly turn into nothing but sawdust. Well, once again I was lucky. It all went well. I think that once I get some clear coat on that wood and get the plastic off that brass bob, the whole thing's going to look pretty nice.